Hello, I'm Tara Brabazon.
And I'm Judy O'Connell.
And yes, this is the third edition of Judy and Tara Talk Tech.
And we are talking tech.
Is that your phone?
That's my phone.
Now, should you answer it or should we?
That actually was a text message, and it is from my mowing man.
Your mowing man?
Who is a digital user who asks me when I want my lawn mowed via a text message.
Now, I really wish that we had planned that. We didn't.
No.
But it's going to become, that's unbelievable, Judy, but that's going to become crucial because what we were doing in the third edition is managing our digital lives. Social, academic, and how we manage privacy and self-performance. Now, I think it is incredibly difficult to differentiate our digital lives. What does our professional self look like? What does our personal self look like? Social media, like Facebook, for example, encourages the blurring and the merging. And for a lot of professions, of which I think librarians and teachers are two great examples, we need to be very clear and we need to be very crisp about the differences and the functions that we have in the different components of our lives. So what we would share with our mother or our father or our best mate, we wouldn't necessarily want to share with colleagues. So I suppose, Jude, you manage the complexity of your digital life very, very well. Do you have rules or guidelines or strategies that you can share with guys and gals out there?
There are probably a lot of things that we can share. The issue around that is that it's not just about how to share, but it's also learning the conventions around the sharing and taking our head out of the sand. Teachers that say to me, oh no, I can't do that, I'm not joining Facebook, I'm not going to do any of those things, are actually remiss in the responsibility of caring for their students. We as teachers, educators, information professionals need to understand that, as Henry Jenkins describes it, we are living in a participatory culture. Our environment is participatory. It's inadvertently surrounded around us. As soon as you go online and buy something on Amazon or Book Depository or, I don't know, some latest diet book or whatever it might be that you purchase, you have established a digital footprint, the beginnings of something.
Yeah.
So what is it that you want to share and who do you want to know what you're doing? One step at a time, establish clear, as you say, crisp definitions of what you do.
Yeah.
So recognise that we are professionals.
Yeah.
We have to have a professional place, a professional persona, and a professional presence.
Yeah.
Even a president would be good.
I was going to say, yeah.
In these
I mean,
environments.
that's a great example. Obama did manage, for example,
Yes,
Twitter
yes.
incredibly well.
Yes, indeed.
Really understanding the personal,
Exactly.
but also the professional role that it held for his re-election. Yeah.
Exactly, and we've got any number of examples of when Twitter has changed the way issues have been managed within the country and social movements that have emerged out of that. Now, we're not suggesting that you need to jump on board that far, but we are suggesting that everybody needs to understand how to use these tools and establish a professional presence. It's compulsory. If you're working in a university, training, teachers of the future, academics working in these environments need to have a professional presence.
Yeah.
But you also need to have a personal presence because you've got kids, nieces, nephews, cousins, aunties who are going wild on their own social media presences, and you want to know what's happening. How are you going to know if you don't join their account on Facebook? So how do you find all these things out? Really, really interesting. And the whole privacy issue.
Yeah, it is. The privacy issue is a big deal. Also, Jude, I think there's a thing, as someone who's taught in universities for 20 years, and I still have, as you know, a lot of relationships, all those students I've taught over the 20 years, I think it is very important that we as teachers have a fully fleshed life and a personality.
Yes.
So that our students don't just see us as teachers, but you know, we have a mother and a father and a husband or a wife or friends, and they see that fully fleshed existence, because I think that helps them as students understand us as teachers.
So true.
And so I think there is the privacy issue, but you know, I have, as you know, an 85-year-old father on Facebook. All my Facebook friends know Kevin Brabazon, and as you, hi Kevin, bless him. But what I would say to you is you can in some ways control your presence on Facebook, but you can't control everybody else's. And do you want to? No. But you do have to have an understanding of privacy, I think. because obviously this is a major concern. You don't want your private life circulated online. You just don't. So do you have rules on that, Judy?
Yes, in terms of my Facebook accounts and so on are my professional accounts.
Interesting.
Some people like to have that, plus they run their own private little thing, which is fine as well. I don't actually have time for that, so I'm happy to have my professional presence. And I have a kind of a personal rule of about 80% professional and 20% information about perhaps where I am, perhaps something that's taken my fancy that I might have bought or whatever it is, to give that personal dimension, because we're working in an online university. We don't have the chance to have that face-to-face conversation with our students, and it really does work. You know, I've had a Singapore study tour, and the very first thing we did, or the students initiated, was a request for a Facebook group, and we keep talking in those environments. We have a subject that we teach in Facebook, and so we're making it our responsibility, if possible, to support our students in learning how to manage these places and spaces. So yeah, it's a kind of, for me, it's an 80-20 mix.
I think that's great, and it's also a performed self.
Yeah, exactly.
Too,
that's a perfect description.
Yeah, that it is. It's a digitised, performed self. So it's not you. It's not sort of an unfiltered you. Let me just share everything with you. Let me share what happened in my household last night. I don't think it's about that, but it's about filtered. But and also I think, I mean, my argument about this is it's about sharing a bit of light in the universe.
Absolutely.
You don't particularly want to have the negativity about you had a row with this person or whatever. It's like if you've got a choice whether to be positive or be negative, my personal opinion is always add a bit of light to the planet if you can. And I think that's where privacy, you know, actually just sharing something positive is really good. The final area I wanted to go into, Jude, on this one is geosocial networking. So particularly the applications that not only allow you to share but also say where you are. So obviously Facebook has that component in it as well. LinkedIn has it as well, but I'm thinking particularly Foursquare.
Yeah.
So what's your perspective on that and privacy, or the value of geosocial networking?
It's interesting. I do like to use Foursquare, but it is one of the... For example, if somebody wants to be my friend on Facebook, I look at their profile, and if they're somebody reasonably professional, whatever, I'm happy for them to be my friend. But when it comes to Foursquare, I only actually friend people I know. So I limit in that sense. If they want to track everything I'm doing, it's only actually people that I personally know. So again, I've taken that privacy level down a notch. As to where it goes and who can actually follow everything that I do. Because Foursquare has the option of posting where you're doing, what you're doing, where you are, to Foursquare or to Facebook as well.
Exactly.
So again, you're needing to say, okay, this is a post on Foursquare, I do want to tweet this or I don't want to tweet it. So it's another layer, and in my Foursquare posts, some I tweet in Facebook and some I don't.
And see, this is one final point. Again, I didn't think we'd go here, but you do connect up some of your accounts, Jude.
I do.
And the interesting thing is, I never do.
Yeah.
I never do. The reason I don't is I have very different digital selves on the different applications. So Tara's Twitter is a very different identity to Tara's Facebook. And my identity on academia.edu, say,
is different.
Is different, or Foursquare. So I actually do keep them separate because they're different identities, so, and different people are involved. Whereas you link them to a certain extent, but with consciousness.
With consciousness, and sometimes I don't. So this again is about becoming sophisticated about social media use within the parameters of privacy and personal sharing. Something that each individual has to make a decision about for themselves, but in a considered way.
Really interesting, Jude. I'm very impressed by that. This is a big issue. Privacy is a big issue, but so is professionalism. And as I always say, you know, be prepared to be professional. Don't write anything that you think you would regret an hour later or a day later, because the moment you're tagged somewhere, that's going to end up on a Google image, and you've got to ask if you'll be happy for people to see that in future. Thanks, Jude. That was terrific.
Thank you.